Again, we want to thank the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute for sponsoring this video. MMI is a school for motorcycle enthusiasts who want to train for a career in the industry. Click the link above for more information.
Hello everyone and welcome to Barcelona, Spain for the introduction of what promises to be a pretty significant motorcycle, the Kawasaki Ninja 7 Hybrid, the very first production hybrid motorcycle ever. Now, right off the bat, I'm gonna let you know that there is so much to cover here, far too much than I have time for right now. And I'm gonna advise you all go to Motorcycle.com, read my full review there to get all the nuts and bolts of what this bike has to offer. Concurrently, let me know, do you want a second video that's more in depth about what this thing has to offer front to back? This is gonna be a relatively quick overview of the Kawasaki Ninja 7. And I say that because, again, there's a lot to go over, but let's jump right in. You must be living under a rock if you aren't aware of all the manufacturers for cars and motorcycles getting very aggressive in their stance towards pollution and emissions. Kawasaki is not immune and not blind to that movement as well. Electric vehicles definitely are part of that stance. They've already introduced some of those as well. This, though, the hybrid, represents a sort of mixture of different solutions for the emissions challenge. It's presented in this, the Ninja platform, because the Ninja platform made Kawasaki. It is Kawasaki. This is the face that Kawasaki presents to the world. But that also opens up a few channels to implement the hybrid technology into other platforms as well. It kind of all depends on how things go with the Ninja. So let's just get right into what the Ninja 7 brings to the table. You've got the 451cc parallel twin from the Eliminator. It actually makes a little bit more power than what you see in the Eliminator, apart from the electric boost. Of course, the electric boost also adds more to that, for a grand total of approximately 68, 70-ish horsepower, according to Kawasaki. And that brings it up to about Ninja 650 just gas-powered levels of performance, which is why this is called the Ninja 7. Kawasaki likes to say this bike has 1000cc levels of acceleration with 250cc levels of fuel economy and efficiency. Same basic architecture as the Ninja 400, different springs, different spring rates, different valving for the extra weight of the battery and the motor. But the seating position is very familiar to those who are used to the Ninja 400. I mean, hell, you can look at it and see this is a Ninja 400 with a little bit different things in the middle of it. Visually, you'll see there's a longer swing arm than the Ninja 400. Part of that is to help with stability from the extra power that the electric motor helps bring. From a practical standpoint, the extra length of the swing arm is to help clear the battery, which lays right here. The original Ninja 400 swing arm would touch the battery casing there, which would clearly be a bad thing. So as you look at the dash, you'll see there's 3 modes. There's Sport, there's Eco, and then there's EV only mode. So the EV mode is an important mode here because of metropolitan cities, especially in Europe, but it's becoming more prevalent in the US too, that just simply don't allow gas vehicles to enter for whatever the reason might be. This is a loophole to get around that, to still enter these places and not offend anybody, at least not offend them as much. The EV, the electric side of things, is still tied in to the 6-speed transmission of the gas engine, but in the EV only mode, you're only using 4 gears and not 6. Shifting is done entirely automatically in the EV mode, and the shifting is done early to take advantage of the electric motor's torque and to keep the motor as efficient as possible. Switch to the Eco mode, and you're using a combination of the gas engine and the electric motors. The bike, when you come to a stop, will shut off the gas engine, just like you see in a lot of cars these days. 11 miles an hour, the gas engine will turn on again and provide you the extra propulsion to get going. In eco mode, you can choose to have the gears shifted automatically, or you can choose to shift them yourself. There's no clutch lever and there's no shift lever down at the bottom either. Shifting is done with paddles, either up or down, and you can choose to do that or do the automatic. Then there's the sport mode, or the sport hybrid mode, which takes full advantage of the gas engine with a little bit of electric assist on top of that. In sport and in eco mode, there is regenerative braking. So there is power being put back into the battery as you're slowing down. But also when you're riding, when you're using full use of the gas engine above 3,000 RPM, power will then be regenerated back into the battery slowly as well. Switching to sport mode, where things get really fun, the boost mode, or sorry, the e-boost, pardon me, gives you an extra, I think it's 9 kilowatts of, well, boost. Whether you're at a dead stop or slightly rolling on the throttle and you need some passing power, you can hit the e-boost button and get some amazing acceleration. In a nutshell, that's how the hybrid system works. Now, how does the bike work overall? Riding around Barcelona, this hybrid bike, this Ninja 7, really makes sense. The bike is on right now as I'm talking to this camera. Obviously it's in electric mode, so you can't hear anything, but darting through town in full electric mode, you can get to a max of 44 miles an hour in electric mode. It'll shift through the first 4 gears, and it's really fine. I mean, we've been doing this all day. We also took the bike up into some twisty canyon roads nearby, and switching it into sport mode, things really got fun. You get Ninja 400 levels of handling. You know, the traditional fork and the shock here aren't anything special. They're not, you know, upside down forks or BPF forks or anything like that. The longer swing arm, yeah, it takes a little bit more effort to change direction, but the bike is still relatively light. I think it's cool to have paddle shifters on the bike. It makes shifting a whole lot easier. You're pretty much never gonna miss a gear that way. It is kind of clunky in that regard. Pressing the buttons gives you an audible and a physical clunk, 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 up or down, whichever way you're going. The interesting thing here is this is a single clutch and not a dual clutch design like Honda uses with their DCTs. The single clutch, like a traditional transmission in a motorcycle, is tied in obviously to the gas engine like normal, but from the input shaft there's a chain-driven loop to the electric motor, which then feeds power from the electric motor to the transmission, and then the ECU and the software, that's Kawasaki proprietary software, then manages the shift points and the power application that way. It's really slick stuff when you really think about it. There's a lot of tech to keep things really effective and simple and efficient, all packaged into what is effectively a Ninja 400 on steroids. Then comes the topic of fuel efficiency. Well, you know, that's the big thing about hybrids, right? You want that fuel efficiency combined with that extra performance boost. We did about a roughly 70-mile trip today through city streets, on some highways and freeways, and then up into canyons as well. And the onboard computer, which granted isn't necessarily the most accurate thing in the world, but the onboard computer was saying our real-time fuel efficiency was anywhere from 50 to 56 miles per gallon. And that's including me and the guys with me and ladies with me riding like hoons in some of these twisty roads, just full gas, going for it. You know, the question for me then becomes, who's the audience for this bike? And that's where I kind of get confused. I totally understand the European aspect of the Ninja 7. It totally makes sense here for areas where you can't travel. In the US though, with the wide expanse of roads, unless you truly do live in the middle of a congested city, New York, LA, and you want something beyond a scooter to get around on, I could see that with this. Beyond that though, I'm kind of struggling to see who the buyer would be in the US. Comment below if I'm kind of missing something here, but personally I think as a former Versys owner, I would want to see the hybrid tech in the Versys platform myself. But again, this is the entry into the hybrid market that no one else has done, and this is just the start of things to come. Questions I don't know the answers to yet. What it's gonna cost, I don't know. That hasn't been decided yet for the US market, partially because the Ninja 7 isn't going to hit the US market until fairly late in 2024. We're probably gonna be one of the last markets to get this bike. And with that, pricing is gonna be a little hard to say as I'm filming this right now. With new technology, I'm gonna ballpark it somewhere in the like $11,000 range, which also then proposes new questions of why would somebody want this in the US market over a Versys, for example. You've got to be a fan of technology and an early adopter, which in this particular case is great because there's a lot to offer on this bike. There's a lot of tech to offer on this bike, and it is a really cool machine that does a lot and can offer you a lot. Having that e-boost to get around cars, to scoot up hills, up twisty roads, and pass people and just feel that burst of adrenaline is really cool, and comes at a package that's far less scary than, say, a 1000cc superbike. What I do know is this is a very interesting motorcycle. It's a very interesting platform, and it's one that I'm really excited to see where this tech goes in the future, and clearly Kawasaki has a plan for hybrid technology. I think it's fair to say this is far more exciting than a Prius. Anyway, like I said, you gotta go to Motorcycle.com and read my full review there. There's a whole lot more that I didn't say in this video because there's just not enough time in the day to cover every single thing. And if you want a more in-depth secondary video, really going over the tech on the Ninja 7, let me know and I could do that too. That's it for me from Barcelona. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and all that good jazz. And as always, ride safe, and I'll see you later.